deep voice. And I appreciate when I hear the Stotler brothers or whoever, that one that comes in with that deep voice.
Mm-hmm.
But that little house, she had her living upstairs. I wonder if it's still there in St. Stephen's. It's about half a mile. It's not far from St. Stephen's. And then there was a kitchen was downstairs by the bar where she did her cooking. And one night, um, Dorothy came up. She'd come up a lot. And she told somebody supposed to sleep in the bedroom. And my brother was there too, and where Dorothy was supposed to sleep. Well, we decided to lay in the living room. We laid in the living room, and you could hear him singing down there. And Bob, and he'd be singing something about I'm going home, singing a song that had those words. And I would say, I wished he would. I couldn't stand his singing. I'd appreciate it more now. And of course, I didn't know the song. And Vina laughed, and we were laying in the living room just visiting. So I guess, and then I don't know who came up first. I suppose Victor. And maybe they closed the bar, and Dad was not, Dorothy wasn't up yet. But Victor was in bed. What a thing to do, put all these guys in the same bed. Victor was in the same bed, and my brother. So Dorothy comes. I guess she was supposed to sleep in that room, but we figured they see us in the bed, or something. Anyway, she went in the bedroom and crawled in bed between the two boys, the two men, I should say, Victor, and they are sleeping sound. Can you imagine that they wouldn't wake up?
Oh, yeah.
Such a crowded business. This seems so dumb. And she slept in there, and she thought, gee, she's wondering if it was me in there with me. They're all asleep. So she feels Albert's hair, I think. Yeah, that's Eleanor, So she crawled in there with these two guys. You heard that one already.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. We had to go to church that morning. None of us could pray. We just got the giggles all morning in church. We couldn't help it because it was she woke up and saw those two in bed with her, and she grabbed the alarm clock. The alarm clock went off. She come running in there, and I saw her see she dropped the alarm clock on my head. Dorothy, she was so all shook up, I slept with the boys. I slept with the guys. And I'm trying to wake up. Oh, shut up. I want to sleep. And I didn't know. Finally, I realized how funny it was. Oh, and then we had to go to early mass for some reason, and we couldn't help but laugh in church. It was just so funny. I thought you knew that one. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, she was quite a liberated woman. She had a car. She worked worked in the homes of doctors and dentists, and I don't know what her jobs were. I know she worked for Dr. Stengel.
Yeah, I do that.
And and then my older sister worked for the sheriff, for the jail, because when my sister was shot, he was a friend of us, our family. Well, what was I going to say about her now? I'm running to one story after the other.
I'm glad you are.
What did I say?
You're talking about my mother. You talk about my mother.
Oh, that she was such a liberated woman those days.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she worked for someone, and then she was told that she couldn't have grapefruit along with the others. Waitress, a waiter, not a waitress. She was, I don't know what she was, but she probably waited on the table. And then she quit. She left. And then one of them left her go because she had a car. And women didn't have cars. This was in 1934 or something. And I was born in 1920. I was 14 when when, that much, she was that much, 11 years older than I was. And she was going to send me to beauty school. Mm-hmm. And I wished I would have asked her more questions, because there was no beauty school in St. Cloud. She had to go and move to the cities. And I don't know where she lived, where she would have to pay for board. But she told me she had hamburgers every day. That's what she said. That was cheap food then. Every day she had a hamburger. And then she came back to St. Cloud. And then they did start a school. And she was an old crab. And Dorothy would meet people she knew, and they need a maid. Then she'd pick me out for being a maid. And this lady that run that beauty school, she was a regular old crab. And her daughter was real nice to me. And I didn't trust her husband. He was blind, and I had to put drops in his eyes. I had to be a nurse. When you're a young girl, you don't like to put drops in somebody's eyes, an old man. And he started telling me some dirty jokes, and he laughed and laughed. Oh, when he came, I would go on the other end of the house. I don't think I ever told Dorothy that, because she would have probably said, you can quit. And good thing he couldn't see. I could hide, get out of his area, because I didn't want him around me. Well, one Sunday I went to St. John Cantus Church, and they used to call that the Polish church. And she was Lutheran, very against the Catholics. She said, it lasted so long, and I was caught heck. Was supposed to make breakfast for some company or something. She said, how come you're home so late? I said, well, the math lasted longer. Why did you go to all that old Polish church? Well, anyway. And I was just I don't know how old I was, maybe 14. My mother never taught us much to cook. I suppose she knew we'd ruin it, food was expensive. Yeah. And one time she said, I made stew, and she liked my cooking. And one day she told me to make vegetable soup, make soup. And I had never made it. And she says, well, it's almost like soup, but you cut things smaller, I'd cut them smaller, and we were used to an old stove on the farm, and I didn't know if it would get done. I thought I better cut them still smaller. I kept going smaller. I guess they were like soup. Oh, did I get heck. I didn't think it would get tender. Well, I was greenhorn. Boy, she bawled me out. I was so glad it was 2-3 weeks till the other lady came that she was hiring. Then when she got serious, I suppose, with Bob, then she didn't talk about sending me to school anymore. I would have went. I didn't have any money, Well, we worked for each other. When they had their babies, we'd get $3 a week.
Mother was pretty good with bookkeeping too. She kept good. We found.
Oh yeah, they all turned out to be good cooks.
We found all the records of her beauty shop years ago.
Oh, have you?
No, I don't know where now, but one of them. I think.
It was a cute little shop.
She had very meticulous records of her beauty shop.
Oh, I bet she had to. See, the customers were people she worked for. Well, they're the only ones that had money to get their hair done. And so she had nice customers. And my mother comes there from the farm. And she's sitting under the hairdryer, and Dorothy had all this doctor's wife, dentist's wife, sitting around. And the hair dryers were still noisier, years ago than they are now. And she's hollering real loud, Dorothy, Dorothy. Dorothy's busy working and says, I wash my hair every week. I still have so many dandelions in my hair.
Dandelions?
Instead of dandruff. Instead of dandruff.
Dandruff, yeah.
And I bet Dorothy was embarrassed. Who's that old hay shaker sitting there in there? And then she thought it was funny. She would laugh at her own self. And you remember Angeline's husband?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was dating Angeline. I think they dated about 5 years before they got married. But anyway, when he was a teenager, and he would say what he wants about somebody, you know. And she thought he was kind of a gossip, whatever. So she said, I'm going to tell him that another lady did that. And I'll bet he'll say that was sure a dumb woman, you know. So, sure enough, when Norm came around, my mother said, you know, there was a lady in Dorothy's shop. And she hollered so loud that she has so many dandelions in her hair. And my dad says, that was you. I don't know why he had to go stick his nose in, but that was you. But he was doing it for a joke, and I suppose she said the wrong person. Yeah.
Where was the shop? Is it downtown?
Uh-huh. I think it was, I know it was right close to the courthouse.
Oh.
I think it's on 7th and St. Germain, but downstairs.
Oh.
Yeah, you're right.
Down the basement, yeah.
You went downstairs, and then there was a barber shop. No, barber shop there. And then you made a turn, and then there was another big, not a real big room, it was a cozy little room where she had her shop.
But in those days, that, like you say, that was very liberated for a lady to have her own shop, work by herself like that. That was very,
yes,
very forward.
And that was quite new, getting your, having a shop to, get your hair fixed.
And then when we moved to 21st Street, then people would come to the house and she'd do their hair downstairs at night. Some of her
Where was this?
When we moved close to your house there on 21st Avenue.
Yeah.
When we moved there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'd be upstairs in bed, and she'd have people come over at night and do their hair for them.
Did she? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Because she was only a few blocks from us.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, she's quite a gal.
Yeah. I rode with her in her car. It seems to me it wasn't a sedan. I think it was a coupe. And there was one year, it was like when I was about 34, terrible dust storms we had here. Just terrible. And I was sitting in there and in the farms, the sun just blew in sand. And I don't know what she was heading for, or where we were going. It was a horrible day. And then one time, Bob must have had her car, because I was going to go to St. Cloud. And then I rode home with Bob. What am I saying? Bob didn't come out. I don't know what. My friend and I, good friend and I, went to a wake of all things. And where my dad's house was, do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
We were heading for that, and she was heading for Angeline's place. I don't know if they had a baby, if she's babysitting or something. And here comes this big black car around the courthouse. Looked like some men in there. Everything looked spooky. And they hollered something to us, and we were scared. So we ran. Dorothy had an apartment downtown then, on the north side.
Mm-hmm.
And we ran, and here she wasn't home. We felt we were hanging there. So the maid came, and she said, I'm babysitting, otherwise I'd walk home with you. And I thought, what good would she do? But I think Norm, my little brother, was along. And there was a store close to my dad's house. And we ran in there, I don't even know if, nowadays they tell you what to do. for this, and nobody told us anything, you know. I don't know why we couldn't call the cops. You know, we didn't. And we sent my little brother home. It was only a block to get my dad. And he didn't bother to wake him up. He said he's sleeping. And my dad said he would have come. And it was late at night. We're spooky already when you're young and you go to a wake, you know, and then have that happen. And gal, it wasn't long after that, that guy, some girl was coming home from Holy Angels Church for some doing. He followed her and he grabbed her, and she got her, I don't know what happened, but he molested her sort of, or whatever, if he molested her or grabbed her or what. And he had a prison sentence. Just think. Oh, the same guy, I thought I saw him at a skating rink, and he looked spooky hanging around there. He looked like he was a lot older than everybody else. I don't think he was skating, and it just looked, I was scared of him already, kind of spooky. I don't know if it was before or after now. So then we went through the alleys, and they hollered, "We know where you are." And oh, it was just awful. And if Dorothy had been home, we thought that would be a good place to go. Mm-hmm. So when did you come?
We came